Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Blacklogic. So, this morning, we're going to dive into the intriguing alliance between Elon Musk and President Donald Trump. Recently, Musk has taken on a very pivotal role in the administration, leading the newly established Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE as we know it. This move signifies a deepening partnership between the tech mogul and the president. Musk's influence doesn't stop there because his ownership of the social media platform X has become a very powerful tool for promoting the administration's policies and counter critics. And Musk have posted some things that they found when they've been doing the investigation of the federal government entities that have been fraud, waste, and abuse in a lot of the American taxpayer dollars. Now, this dual role raises questions about the balance of power and the potential conflicts of interest. Now, there have been critics stating that Elon Musk is running the country rather than Donald Trump, whereas though the highlight portion that I believe that a lot of Americans are missing is that he's investigating and auditing the American government from a financial standpoint. And that is why some people may deem that he is either running the country or have great influence over Donald Trump. Me personally, one, to tell you the truth, I don't care. Number two, I don't think so because Donald Trump himself has a certain stance and status. Okay, he was star-studded way before Elon Musk, and he's been a figure in America for a very, very long time, even since the late 70s, early 80s, when he really came on the scene, been, in public places with, very prominent and very prominent people, whether it be black, white, or indifferent. So again, he's always been a star. He's always had a star status. He's always been a celebrity, so to speak. But as we look at this, because of the amount of access to government that Donald Trump has allowed Elon to have, people believe that Elon Musk is running the country. I don't believe that at all. I believe Donald Trump is running the country because he's the appointed president and he has the power of the pen, and he's been using the power of the pen because without that power of the pen, now some people are stating because of the amount of money that Elon Musk have used to support Donald Trump and giving him access into other avenues, that could be very, very true. The amount of power and influence that Elon Musk has because of all the business partnership probably helped Donald Trump get into doors and get onto podcasts that he probably wouldn't have done without Elon Musk. But again, Elon Musk wanted to see Donald Trump in the White House, and there you have it. But that's my kind of 2 cents on it. But again, we are auditing the government, which has never been done before, the likes that we've seen on a public stage for everyday American citizens. And I'm glad that this is happening. So now we know exactly, okay, to a certain degree, where our tax dollars are going. I believe this is a good thing. But Musk Deutsch has set its sights on overhauling Medicare and Medicaid. The department has been granted access to the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services systems to identify and eliminate what? Fraud and waste. While the goal is to enhance efficiency, this initiative has sparked debates about the potential impact of beneficiaries and the extent of Deutsch authority. And I believe this is important, again, that we look at almost every facet of the American government to see where all the fraud, waste, and abuse, because I truly believe that fraud, waste, and abuse has occurred on every level in the government. I absolutely do. I think there has been a great level of fraud, waste, and abuse that we have yet to see. And a lot of people are loving what Deutsch is doing, regardless if you don't agree with who's doing it. But I think a lot of Americans are agreeing with what Deutsch is doing altogether. And I think that's very, very significant that we pay attention to where all the money is going, because we should see some advancements in our country, advancements in the water filtration system, advancements in the infrastructure, advancements in sewer, trash, all those things that we kind of benign neglect as American citizens. They can be a lot better with the technology that we have, as well as the amount of trillions of dollars that has been frauded and waste within our own government. And I think that we should be very happy, at least we have the transparency. So when people go and lobby and protest, we actually have evidence, we actually have proof of all the money that this country has wasted and given to other countries and terrorist organizations and all these weird psychotic experiments that they've been doing on inside of other countries, whether it be shrimp on treadmills or transgender drag shows in Colombia. It's been going on for a very long time, and it's about time that it stops. This is where we stop the buck, because we turn our attention to our beloved veterans, those who risked their lives and served our country unwaveringly. There's growing curiosity about how these developments might affect VA disability benefits. Because with new leadership at the Office of Management and Budget, questions arise about potential changes in budget allocation and policy priorities. Veterans and their families are keen to understand what the future holds for their benefits and services. This should never be a question, in my opinion. This should never be a question. Now, during his confirmation, Russell Vought, on January 21st, I believe, committed to protecting veterans' benefit and ensuring that the budget balancing does not negatively impact veterans. The confirmation of Russell Vought as the Office of Management and Budget Director has raised concerns among veteran service organizations due to his involvement with conservative reports suggesting significant cuts to VA disability benefits. Now, Vaught's report proposed reducing disability compensation for veterans at retirement age and eliminating benefits for those deemed unemployable, among other recommendations aimed at cutting costs. Both Randy Reese from the Disabled American Veterans and Cole Lyle from the American Legion expressed strong opposition to any means testing based on household income for veterans' benefit, emphasizing that disabled veterans deserve their compensation due to their service. While no legislation has been introduced regarding these changes, the potential for future actions has veterans groups on alert, ready to resist any proposal that threaten their earned benefits. Absolutely. Whether it be the Army, Marines, Navy, Air Force, National Guard, Coast Guard, Space Force, and all other that is part of the Department of Defense, veterans benefits should not be cut. It should be increased. We're talking about 1% of our population that has volunteered to serve our country in defense and follow those orders and commands of those who are appointed over them to insist of the security of our country. So when you're talking about stripping the benefits, Russell Vought, what in the hell are you talking about? See, a lot of these people who are part of these offices, they come up with these cockamamie, sort of ideological ideas of how we can save money. You mean to tell me that the trillions of dollars that the government has wasted, we're now going to turn on the focal point of those 1% of Americans who sacrifice and risk their lives, and that you stated that we're going to take care of you? A lot of you may not have physical and visual signs of the warfare that you went through the combat zones and the injuries that you endure. We understand that a lot of you have mental instability, have mental issues, and that you need to be taken care of for the rest of your life. You may need therapy. You may need a psychiatrist. You may need assistance in subsidized pay. But I don't think any American who love this country and the security and what the veterans have done, regardless if they agree with the conflict and the war they were part of, but the ultimate price was volunteering, raising your right hand, and giving further allegiance to the country that you live in and love in and sacrifice for. So again, I don't believe any American, I'm pretty sure there's one or two, that would agree to cutting veteran benefits. What kind of demonic statement or demonic ideology is he coming up with? Like, there's trillions of dollars in other government entities that we are finding out. So again, me being a veteran myself, leave veterans alone. If you're going to mess with us, increase the benefits, increase the monthly allotments, increase the yearly raises that veterans get. Because I'm telling you, as I look at our government, and I'm looking at the politicians, the senators and congressmen and lobbyists, You guys are living the best life next to entertainers in this country. You guys are some of the richest people in our country, the government official who are supposedly public servants. It seems as though, now, again, as we're still watching the Trump administration in office, but it seems as though that the government officials have been self-serving, let alone serving the public. That's just my take on that. That is my take on that, because that it seems as though it has been for a very long time. Because as I stated many times before, whether you be a senator, a congressperson, or part of the judicial branch, like the Supreme Court, within 3 years, if they wasn't a millionaire, they're already multimillionaires, meaning they have more than $1 million in the bank. I'm talking about liquid cash, whether it be in stocks or in their bank accounts. Yeah, so Russell Vought, please let this one let this one go. Let this one go, because I guarantee a large portion of Americans will turn against the federal government. This is what the Constitution is standing for, because, again, they act as though veterans are getting paid very well. There's very few veterans, and they're probably generals, who are receiving $100,000, okay, a year as part of their VA disability, their special assignment pay, as well as their military retirement, all into one. There's very, very few people who are receiving that amount of money. And depending on where you live, there's rising costs in Texas. There's rising costs in a lot of the southern states, Arizona, New Mexico. Everything. Inflation has risen their prices on almost everything. So 100,000 may seem like a lot for those who are not making 100,000, who are probably making 50,000. But for you to serve your country, okay, and we're talking about, and I'm mostly leaning towards people who become injured or dismembered to a certain degree, people who served, 10, 15, 20 years. Yes, their pay should not be affected at all. If anything, you should be increasing it. If anything, you should be increasing it. Now, on the international front, European leaders are recalibrating their approach to the Ukraine conflict in response to President Trump's push to end the war. There's a concerted effort to bring Kiev to the negotiating table, with discussions focused on security guarantees and long-term peace strategies. Now, the shift underscores the global ripple effects of U.S. foreign policy decisions. Elon Musk's expanding role in government and his initiative through DOGE are reshaping the landscape of U.S. politics and healthcare. So as we encompass all these things, Donald Trump is aimed to end the war in Ukraine and Russia. And hopefully this becomes sooner than later, because I'm looking at the global impact of the loss of human life as versus U.S. international relations. So again, Trump doesn't aim to divide by being at war, whether it be economically or another Cold War or either military war with Russia or even North Korea. He's trying to mend those relationships so we can essentially have peace. Now, I don't agree with us taking over the Gaza Strip, which Donald Trump has stated that he wants to essentially take over the Gaza Strip and rebuild, but he wants to displace, thousands of Gazians into neighboring countries like Jordan and Egypt. He spoke with King Abdullah II yesterday, and King Abdullah II said, well, I disagree with taking and displacing Gazians, but I will take 2,000 of sick Gazian children. I don't know what that necessarily means. Now, these children, parents are no longer with us, grandparents are no longer with us, uncles and aunts are no longer with us, cousins are no longer with us, and I can see that. But are these children going to be accompanied? That is what I want to know, because we shouldn't just have random children from another country, 2,000 of them. This is again, my personal opinion. They should be accompanied by their guardians, okay? Wow, a lot of things going on in the world all at once. But nonetheless, every time you use Google Maps, check your phone's location, or rely on GPS for direction, you're benefiting from the work of a very powerful woman whose name is rarely mentioned in tech history. Her work that we're referring to this morning is Dr. Gladys West. the brilliant mathematicians whose calculations and programming paved the way for the development of GPS technology. Her work in satellite modeling and orbital mathematics helped create a system that billions of people now rely on each and every day. Look at our beautiful sister here. Look at our beautiful sister here in her prime, her work in satellite modeling and orbital mathematics, absolutely revolutionary. But her contributions have been largely ignored by mainstream history until now. Born in 1930 in Sutherland, Virginia, Gladys Mae West grew up in a rural segregated community with educational opportunities for Black children were extremely limited. They were extremely limited. Look at her house here. Now, she earned a scholarship to Virginia State University and HBCU, where she majored in mathematics. She graduated at the top of her class and later earned a master's degree in mathematics. One of the only Black women to work as a mathematician for the U.S. government in the 1950s. Despite the racist and sexist barriers in STEM, West broke through and made history. See, when you have a higher level of great intelligence, you cannot be matched. So the government, even during a racist and sexist time, has to acknowledge your intellectual prowess and accept and use that. Even though that they may benign neglect your importance, they may shadow your achievements, but they still used her very significantly because in 1956, West began working at the U.S. Naval Laboratories, where she became one of the first Black women to advance in computing and space science. Worked on satellite data analysis, studying Earth shape and gravitational fields. She developed complex algorithms that improve satellite positioning and accuracy. She's done a lot of great things. Her research became very critical in the creation of GPS technology, a system that allows satellites to pinpoint exact locations anywhere on Earth. Without her precise calculations, GPS would not exist as we know it today. It would not exist as we know it today without our beautiful sister's intellect when it comes to mathematics. West's contributions have changed the way we navigate the world. GPS technology used in phones, cars, planes, and military operations and mapping help improve our understanding of Earth's surface and movements. Satellite systems that were enhanced global positioning systems for space exploration and communication, even in emergency services that saves lives by allowing ambulance and responders to find locations faster. So every time you check your GPS, you're using technology that Gladys West helped develop. We're looking at Google Maps, Apple Maps, Waze, all of these different apparatuses that we have in applications on our phone to help us locate. Would it be, I think there's an application that help Apple find my Apple or find my phone, or you can locate your friends just by geotagging, all thanks to her brilliance in mathematics. Now, despite her groundbreaking contributions, West faced racism in the workplace, where Black mathematicians were often overlooked, sexism in STEM, where women were rarely given leadership roles, lack of public recognition, as white men took credit for GPS advancements. But she never stopped working, proving that Black women before at the forefront of scientific innovation. Recognized the U.S. Air Force for her contribution to GPS. Even in this picture that you guys are looking at right now, we see that, let me scroll back up here. We see that we have representation of the globe. We have two representation of the globe. And does it seem as though that this gentleman beside Gladys, that he is telling her and showing her, or is she the instructor here? I'm gonna let you guys in the comment section tell me what you think. Now, inducted into the U.S. Air Force Hall of Fame in 2018, inspired countless Black women in STEM, showing that math and science belong to everyone. Dr. Gladys Mae West's work has impacted billions of lives, yet her name is still missing from many of the history books. So the next time you guys use your GPS to find your way, I want you guys to remember Dr. Gladys Mae West and all of her achievements and what she have done for not only the country, but to our world. Look at Gladys West and her handsome husband here. Look at this picture. Look at our sister. She was inducted into the Air Force Space and Missile Pioneers Hall of Fame during a ceremony in her honor at the Pentagon. And it states here that West continued to work at the Dahlgren facility, later renamed the Naval Surface Warfare Center, for the rest of her career, ultimately retiring in 1998 at the age of 68. But the ambitions that she had first experienced as a child at the Butterwood Road School led to her enrolled in graduate school with the idea of finally earning a PhD post-retirement. Though she suffered a stroke in the middle of the process, West ultimately received a doctorate in public administration from Virginia Tech. And yet, despite the long career and pivotal role she played in creating GPS, West's achievements were almost entirely unacknowledged. Who were shocked to hear that their unassuming friend had been on the cutting edge of technology revolution prompted West to write her autobiography. It began with a dream. The combination of West's book and the focus of the Black NASA mathematician's profile in the movie Hidden Figures finally cast a spotlight on West's contributions more than 50 years after she had first started analyzing satellite data and exploring the true contours of planet Earth. We thank you. We love you for your contributions, because I don't think anyone in this world has yet to use GPS. We have all used it, and it wouldn't be possible without you, Gladys West. We thank you, sister. We thank you for your hard work, your ownership of this, your intellect, your brilliance, your achievements. And it's not just America that thank you. The entire world thank you. You guys have a great and wonderful morning. This is Blacklogic.